Hey peeps, Pinkolol16 here in another video of my own to commentate over. We're up to Super Mario 64 Adventures Episode 5, A Mysterious Figure in Time. This one to me is of a lower quality than that of Episode 4 at the time, since Episode 4 was about the YT art and the fact that I used several color codes, I felt that was of a better quality than that of this, since this video was mainly about the main 4 characters that I'd originally introduced into the series, and basically it was a story that I had just created on my own. The reason why I took so long in terms of getting this up is because this video is supposed to link to my series, The Curse of the Invincibility Frames, and I want to do that all generally in a close time sitting, so I can tell you the time gaps and the story that I'm supposed to be telling here, which since episode 5 is a part of, I had to delay it. Also, this video is the only one where I use this newer intro, and the only reason I do is not because the quality is bad, well, kind of is, but it's because of the ideas which are contextualized in it at the time. It's also music synced because I really like that kind of thing. See, since Starman 3 is in here, I can't just say, yeah, I'm gonna use this intro in the future. So yeah, that's why. These were all YTR members at the time. This particular scene was based off of a couple of criticisms that I received from YTR at the time, where people said, "Oh, Kim looks like Starman 3," since the shirt and the hair and the gloves look really oddly similar. People really can't understand the difference between green and dark gold though, because Akin has a lot of differences that separate him from Starman 3, especially in character in comparison to color code. So I don't understand. Like, I was like, why do you want me to change it just so I can satisfy your need? And they didn't want that, but they were still going on about it anyway. So I decided to put that in my video, since, you know, that was a thing at the time. Also, I kind of have a cold whilst doing this. Jinda is basically me in these situations. I don't even remember is a callback to his backstory, which I started planning it at the time, but I don't think I had completed it. I have completed it as of now, and I should be releasing that after part 16 releases, which at the time of this video is not released. Get used to those thoughts, because I usually clarify this stuff, and especially this is going to carry over into the later parts of this video. Jinda was like this color code, for a long time, but he was definitely having a different color code in the beginning. This is in reference to the fact that when I originally created Jinda, he looked more like Xbox Fan 997 where the overalls were green instead of purple. I had to change it drastically just to make him look different, but I don't even remember, and I've always remembered you in that way, symbolisms of the fact that he should be that way and this way, and should always be that way. It's funny because he just somehow knows where I am. Also, Blue's kind of foreshadowing the rest of the video. And he's just passive because he knows time has to play out. This is what episode 2 kind of left a loose plot point, a plot thread, which I could easily have picked up on at any later time. Like, Blue suddenly knew of me beforehand, and I could have easily slotted any backstory into there. This is what I was doing with him. This is what I planned to do with him. And it relates to part 16. This whole video relates to part 16. Also, yes, I just found that on Google Images. He's talking about the bangle thingies. He's just seen them on the ground. He's confused, but he's not gonna bother with them yet. The scene is supposed to have that scene was supposed to have no dialogue, just to contextualize my appearance being there. I was just staring at the butterflies in the sky. At this time, I really wasn't gonna bother with putting remixes or better versions of tracks on my videos. Everything you hear is from a game, specifically a game, and not someone's remix. I don't think I would get more confident with remixes until the Curse of the Invisibility frames, I believe. We're gonna forget Akin because Akin is supposed to change over time while we're gone, so it's kind of weird because he's really pointless in this whole video, but it's a means of getting him out of the way just so it can only be an adventure with me and Jinda. Getting them to hold something is really hard because of the idle animation, since their arms are moving up and down. So, yeah. At the time, Brandon was saying, "I don't get it," to seemingly random things. Brandon is real OMG. Brandon at the time was usually he was beginning to act similarly to Thunder at the time, and he would sometimes say, "I don't get it," to random things, to random complex things that would sometimes be said. Because of that, I pulled a reference here. Worst fade effect ever. And yes, somehow a kid is just right there. You'd think we transcended dimensions, but we didn't. And we're gonna see that later. Because time and the plot demands it. Pretty much, it's that. The whole point is that this was meant to play out, so, yeah. As evidenced by Blue knowing what he did in the earlier part of the video. This whole video is about time travel, and notice how it's a mysterious figure, and episode 2 was about a mysterious figure. Yeah, they're the same person. This was meant to happen. This is a really weirdly worded line. I'm trying to say, let's just go in the pipe because I can see it over there. Pretty much. I think I was scripting much more weirdly at the time. This was the end. I was scripting this at around the time I was actually making it, so it actually was late 2013 when I did make this. So I was like, the video was happening in real time. Generally, they tend to do because of the fact that Starman3 tends to put his videos in real time too. So I was inspired to do the same thing. The trick being the -20 trick, basically, instead of Rainbow Road. SM64 Rainbow Road is similar to that of SM64 Star Road, so that the -20 trick still has to be in effect in order for your color code to work. So now Jinda knows how to actually do it. So now I can begin to do the 4th dimension thingies with him, which will happen later on. Which was episode 3. See, I like contextualizing these things. Well, yeah, I'm gonna view in better quality now. Basically, I'm saying Akin and Blue need to know the trick as well. Well, I don't know if Blue has or hasn't learned the trick because I didn't take him, basically. But technically, Blue does. I just don't know that. Also, yeah, he's on the island. Also, yes, he can apparently hear them from however high up he is. Acute sense of hearing. Again, I'm scripting extremely weirdly here. Broken for a year because at the time I was scripting this, it was 2013. 2012 was basically gone, and 2013 was basically about to go at the time. Basically, since it's his programming stuffed up, he just says 2012 over and over and over and over and over. It was really hard to get that thing to circle around. I really wanted to get him to circle around. You can see the small shadow in the middle? Yeah, that's me trying to get him to do that. Also, that's supposed to be him exploding. It's difficult because at the time I didn't have SM64 Movie Maker, so you can just assume I'm looking up, but I'm not really like, this model isn't exactly looking up, so it's a bit odd. So yeah, you can see it in that scene that I'm looking up properly. Yes, we just magically got up there. It's funny because we could just talk to him from over here, but that would just be really, really odd. So we decided to go, hey, let's long jump over there. Yeah, I tried long jumping and it failed, so I didn't want to just make their plot device suddenly work. So they just used the cannon and jumped themselves up here, and the other guy didn't care. That, as in Blue. I'm pretty sure he was hiding because he was scared of them, because he doesn't know, he hasn't seen people for a long time. And that will be explained in part 16, why he was here the whole time. Yeah, he's been alone for as long as he can remember. Which is going to tie into what the Curse of the Invincibility Frames is basically all about. which is why I delayed the commentary of this video. Blue, as of this point in time, in late 2012, since they time traveled, is completely alone. He has never seen a single living soul in his life because of the fact that he was sealed up there to live for several years before Vindimka and Colin would pick him up. So, yeah, this whole thing is supposed to tie into the custody visibility frames. It was meant to from the beginning. Which is why it's the last episode before I jumped into that series in the first place. At this point in time, well, you know, at this point, me and Jinda have no idea that it's 2012. And this guy's just Blue, but we have no idea that he's the Blue that we know in the future. Future from now, at least. Basically, the island was supposed to be tranquil for a long time, and this ties into what Blue's backstory is. Blue and his two brothers lived on the island for a long period of time before the Bomb King invaded this place and then caused two of the islands to float. One of those islands was what Blue was living on at the time on the ground. Jinda's talking about the bomb that blew up that was repeated 2012 over and over. Yeah, Jinda's going nuts over the 2012 bomb and I'm telling him to shut up because it doesn't matter. Jinda likes seeing things stuff up if it's completely pointless, like the bomb. If it's something like a fourth wall break, which is on purpose, he's not going to enjoy it as much. Pretty much since he said the bomb repeating last year. And here's where we find out that we're actually in 2012 instead of us dimension traveling, we actually time traveled. So he doesn't know the date, but he knows the year. It's depressing for him, I know, but he's lived his life in complete solitude for this whole time. By the way, this is actually Blue's old color code that I originally created for him. So I decided to bring it back and make it his actual beta old color code. And his current one being his current one. And the month. But he doesn't know the actual day. When I started to change, October 2012, when I started watching SM64's videos. So somewhere out there, my past self is out there watching Super Mario Glitchy Force's videos. And I have no idea now that that's happening. Voice being I'm actually saying out loud. Thoughts being I don't actually speak this out loud, which is why it's in italics. This is something I like to clarify where Starman 3 does not do that. Otherwise he'll just insert a bracket saying this character's speaking in thoughts or something like that. When I put thoughts or voice in brackets, I'm not actually saying thoughts or voice, I'm clarifying that. Since halfway through the sentence, since halfway through the thought, I actually start to speak. And if I don't clarify, they're just speaking. Blue does not know how to react to this whole situation since he has had no social interaction in his life for several years, aside from maybe the king and some bomb-oms, which he's been trying to avoid for all this time. Also, they've had no deal in trying to get to him. I'm alone, basically. I have no SNN anymore. I was about to join YTR, but you know, time would play itself. It's weird because every one of them says use. People constantly criticize me about that because I should be saying you instead of use. It is actually a word, use. It's shortened for you guys or just you people. Use is a shorter way of doing that. Remember when he said late 2013 earlier in the video? He doesn't know what time travel actually is, despite, you know, it's happening right in front of him, but he's not seen any movies or anything because he's been up here for several years alone. It's not jinda, but in universe, we can assume it was. My past self even knew how I would be commentating over this. Yeah, they're here for a reason, obviously. All time travelers for a reason. Yeah, Blue has gone down periodically and he's come up with the canon at points. Yes, you can long jump the other way. You can't long jump from there to here, but you can long jump from here to there. As proven by that. These shots took absolutely forever to make because of the fact that I needed to long jump and have them land and make them go inside too. And I needed to avoid the bomb too. And that failed with Blue's run. I made sure his was last so the bomb wouldn't, you know, suddenly go inside and then appear outside again. The king's been watching over him since he was a bub. And I mean Blue. You aren't reliable either because he's just the first boss. By the way, this boss is very easy and I speed it up because gameplay footage is not something I implore. Yeah, which is why he has a piranha plant there and I think there's a bomb there, or if there isn't, just a piranha plant. Monitoring his mustache, really. Because of the fact that SM64 footage is actually fairly common. So yeah, Blue's gonna learn that second nature pretty much. I script extremely weirdly. I'm saying here that Blue is going to learn it as if it's second nature too. I do speed this up at some point. These are actually all scripted in the fight, so I had in the fight have Blue say these lines. So it's not like I've randomly come up with these lines out of nowhere. Yeah, basically. I did speed it up because I don't usually employ gameplay footage. I wanted to have one hit and then... Also, you can see flickering because I still hadn't figured it out at the time. It flicked by very quickly though. So you didn't see it. There's a star on top of the tower, which he's always below. So he's like, oh, there's another one of those? He doesn't want to go with us. He wants to explore other places since he's gained the courage to do that now. Being around us has enhanced his courage, pretty much. So, kind of like how the partner character is in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon 2 around you. Also, even though we could have done this the whole time, we apparently didn't because we knew we had to do something. That was so hard. Also, the bracelets broke after the second trip. Welcome to my Microsoft Paint skills. Hope you enjoy your stay. Also, yes, I hate it when it freezes the camera and then it suddenly moves it left or right. That's unbelievably stupid. Good thing Super Mario 64 Movie Maker is a thing now. It wasn't then though. Yeah, he suddenly did that after 30 minutes of worrying over himself. Yeah, it's pretty sudden and I don't really like that now, but I think he's supposed to be random like that, so I guess maybe it's justified. I'm not sure. It's still pretty bad though. Like, I'm not immune to mistakes, guys. Also, yes, Akin is meant to be here and he just vanished. It's because of how wide the shot is. I wanted to just have a shot where Jinda ran into the castle. Because he remembered from earlier that Blue knew about things. He's not going to tell Blue directly that they just time travel because he doesn't want to just create some loophole. But he's going to ask him one of those questions people ask in these kinds of trope thingies. Blue knows it's just happened, and he knows that he shouldn't tell Jinda anything except, you know, with the real basics now. But he basically says, you know, some things. He knows Jinda's gone back and time traveled now. He goes very hopeful because of the fact that he knows what happened. Jinda doesn't know that he knows. Yeah, Kim was crying out really loudly out there. I don't think it's because they went back and saw the previous color code and they saw how bad that was that they realized that Akin isn't really that bad at all. So that's why he says that. And Blue's like, I don't even think I want to ask about the time travel because I know what happened. Jinda's supposed to be like an ignorant kid at this point. He doesn't know that Blue knows that they time traveled. And he doesn't know that Blue's life was practically contextualized around that. This is going to tie into part 16 and the entirety of the Curse of the Invincibility frames. This one scene. This is going to tie into Blue's backstory too, in terms of him meeting us. He did a whole bunch of crud before episode 2 when he finally met me again for you know, the second time for him. But for me it was the first time. It's kind of like that weird river-doctor relationship, but it's less complex than that. Now we're back to the now we're up to the random moment. The video's over pretty much now. There's just random crud. I had a flying code that was really weird, and I wanted to use it again. Remember that video where Kim was just flying around the mountain? Yeah, it's the same code as that. See how I jump? Yeah. It's meant to imply that he drank the potion again. On his own. As I very conveniently explain. I don't put sound effects because you can pretty much guess what happened anyway. He couldn't, I didn't release him from the shot, so. The bracelets are gonna be here. He's staring the wrong way. Super Mario Rainbow Road has the finickiest enemy detection because they have no idea I'm nearby. I'm walking right in front of this bomb and it has no idea that I'm here. This was when I was trying to get the bomb to run around in circles. Welcome to Super Mario Rainbow Road. I went off the camera and he followed me, which isn't a good thing. I tried this with several bomb-bombs. I just wanted a bomb-bomb to run around in circles. Super Mario Rainbow Road also has a thing where I can freeze the camera and it'll just wander around in a circle before I get into the proper position. The bomb's not in the shot. By the way, I showed this particular shot to Enzo before I completed the video, and I uploaded it as an unlisted video named Outtake 6. Welcome to Super Mario Rainbow Road enemy programming, where random crud can just happen without even my input happening at all. Don't even ask me how it randomly exploded. And here's Enzo's mandatory appearance for the video. With a quote-unquote pun, just like how he would normally say them. Yeah, that was the thing I said at the time whenever he said a pun, quote-unquote. They're not really puns, he just repeats the word again. Or just plainly states the obvious. Yeah, freezing the camera when I'm trying to move the head and I end up picking the wrong camera instead of the frozen one, so I can't move the head. Oh yeah, that's why I was having trouble with that shot. There's an invisible wall there and I would have hit it if I'd gone at it from the wrong angle. Rainbow Road and Star Road are full of the weirdest invisible wall objects. In Chokya Harbor, there's a whole bunch of invisible walls around the pond, the small pond near the spawn point. And why is that there? It's just plain air. Why are there invisible walls there? I didn't want to get the bomb and then have blue have it when it suddenly comes out. So I wanted, yeah, If I wanted to have the bomber follow me, it had to be the last person. And Jinda would be second, so that wouldn't work. Yeah, I would have gone that way on the bridge, not in the shot. And since I'm first, that wouldn't be a good thing either. Yeah, I randomly ground pounded. That was really terrible. I moon jumped myself up to get back here. There's a code that I use that many people were using. You press what would be L and the jump animation overrides any movement happening at that current point. So it's usually a failsafe if anything wrong happens for me. I would be going this way instead of, and that wouldn't be good enough. And since you can't mid-air control yourself in Super Mario 64, and any of its ROM hacks, that's really hard. I did, but it took a very long time. Also re-recording the outtake, the random moment I see. Outtake, haha. Yeah, I tried to bring him back into the shot, and I made him think he smashed the wall. And then I ended the recording right there because that was stupid. See y'all, have a good day, peace, and I'll see you in Super Luigi's birthday gift, which was one of the gifts he received aside from Salmon 3's video.